Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Mr. Eid and I teach mathematics. This video is part of a series on how to solve quadratic equations. We started from very basic things like linear factorizations, and today we will tackle equations for the very first time in this series. If you've never seen this before, go back to our previous videos in the series and watch other videos as well. And if you are following us, let's get right into it. So if you remember, we've never tackled equations before. People, when they see math symbols, they call them equations, but what we've tackled is just something like this. So we used to have, let's say x squared plus 4x plus 4, and then we just factorized it. So we just said that this is x plus 2, the whole thing squared. That is not called an equation. This is called an expression. It's a sentence of the language of mathematics. I'm just saying that this and this are the same thing. Now, what is an equation? An equation is something different. An equation looks like this. X squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 0, for example. This is an equation. So the initial question here on the top was this. Factorize. Okay, so this is factorize. And then when they tell me factorize, I answered x plus 2 squared. Here they are giving me the first side and the second side of the equation, and they want me to solve. They can give it to me in other forms. For example, they can write this or this, right? It's the same thing, right? It's just the same thing. And how do we solve such an equation? Well, you would just use the factorization bit. Never ever here there's nothing to do, right? If you let me do this actually for demonstration. If you have this, I see students do this sometimes. So that they take knowns on one end and the unknowns on the other end, and then they do this. And then how does that solve your, how does that, it doesn't help at all. It doesn't do anything. What you should do here is remember that we have this. So this is x plus 2, the whole thing squared is equal to 0. And now you ask yourself, I have something inside a bracket, and then you square it, and then it gives you 0. What is that thing? And the only number I can think of is 0. 0 squared is 0. Anything positive becomes bigger, anything negative also becomes bigger than the positive, right? Like positive and negative quantities, when they get squared, they give you other numbers. Nothing gives 0 except 0. So if something here, the x plus 2 squared, is giving 0, this means that this x plus 2 here has to be 0. And then from here you get that x is negative 2. And of course, you are more than free to check. So here, if you put this x, if you carry it and put it up here, it should work. So minus 2, the whole thing squared. Okay, so we're just testing here. Plus 4 times negative 2 plus 4 is equal to 4 minus 8 plus 4. And what do you know? It is the answer we were expecting. It is 0. So what we did worked. And it worked wonderfully because we used the remarkable identities trick here, the factorization trick that we learned in the previous videos. Now, again, the same question, what if you have a different number? Okay, what if instead of starting with this, we start with x squared plus 4x minus 5 equals 0? Well, the main trick here is that we obtained the factorization. This is what really helped us. From here onwards, the solution flowed. So let us obtain another factorization for this one. And if you remember how we factorized it, we used the trick that is called completing the square. And this is what we will do one more time. Completing the square says, if you have the beginning of what looks like a square, so this is a squared, this is what we're wishing for all the time, a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. If you have the beginnings of this, and you don't really have the b squared, what you do is you hide this minus 5 for now, and you just start with the beginning and you complete this beginning here. So this is x squared plus, let me write it as 2 times 2x. Why am I doing this? Because what do I have in mind? A squared plus 2ab. And I want to add my b squared at the end. Well, this is the 2. A is x. A is x. So b is this b is this blue 2 right here. That's the only thing left. So now if b is 2, what is b squared? It's 4. I'm going to put it in red. I added plus 4. Can I add plus 4 out of my head like that? No. I got to pay on my way out. I got to remove the 4 again. So that's plus 4 minus 4 cancels out. Genius trick. Beautiful. Minus 5 equals 0. If you're looking for another explanation, go back and watch the previous video. So x squared I have here plus 4x. I'm going to keep the plus 4 in red. Minus 4, sorry. Plus 4 minus 4 minus 5 equals 0. Genius trick. Now, guys, this x squared plus 4x plus 4 here is nothing but our golden wish, right? Which turned out to be this. A squared plus 2 times 2x plus 2 squared, which is 4. This is very convenient, right? It's not convenient. We've engineered it. We've paid. We've broken the rules almost to make it happen. So this is not a wonder at all that it is working. We've paid for it. X plus 2, the whole thing squared, minus 4 minus 5 equals 0. X plus 2 squared minus 9 equals 0. And now we remember the second part of the trick, the second brilliant move, which is this. And now this is a square, this is a square. X plus 2 minus 3. Why minus 3? Because 3 squared is 9. X minus 1 into x plus 5 equals 0. And that is the factorization of this. We haven't solved the equation yet. We have to reach the values of x to solve an equation. Solving an equation means give me the values of x that work. So this is a different question from factorization. However, we have reached a point, just like before, where I have the multiplication of two things and they're giving 0. Here, if you remember, I had the square of something that is giving me 0. Well, what is the square of something that gives me 0? What is that something? That something is 0. Well, similar logic here. I have two numbers, two brackets, two entities that are multiplied by each other and they're giving me 0. What can they be, I wonder? Well, they can only be either that this one here is 0 or this one here is the 0. Why do I know that? Well, assume that none of them is 0. Well, 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times minus 2 is minus 10. It doesn't work. It doesn't give 0. One of those, either the first one has to be 0 or the second one has to be 0 for the result of a multiplication to be 0. And so either this one is 1 or this one is negative 5. Those are my two solutions. And that's how I solve a quadratic equation using remarkable identities and completing the square. Which concludes our video for today. Thank you very much for following and liking the stream. Thank you very much for participating in our discussion. Please, if you haven't joined our Discord, it's a very fun community where people share their homeworks, people ask questions, and people help each other with their math homework and with their exams. We do streams on Twitch sometimes. All the links are in the bio in the description of the video. If you feel like it, please show up to our live stream. If you are still in school or in college level, I'm very happy to see all of you and answer your questions. Take care and see you next time. Bye-bye.